really nice to meet both of you. Thanks so much for coming in. So before we start anything today, I just wanted to start by saying that everything that happens here is confidential, barring any, serious suicidal or homicidal ideation. And then I also would like to make it clear that you have both come in to enter marriage counseling and prepare to have any interventions coming with that. And if you guys could just both agree that that's what you're here for, then we can, and that you understand these guidelines, we can start getting to work. All right, so since I don't know much about you guys, if you could just, give me some insight about what's going on and what really brought you in. So whoever wants to take that, go for it.
Well, I think we could tell things were a little weird for a while, but just recently she moved out and I just felt kind of blindsided and I just feel kind of weird about it all.
Wow, all right. So, Susan, what would you like to add to that of what's been going on?
Well, I just had an event recently that just made me realize that I'm just really not happy in our relationship. We've been drifting apart, and I don't know. It just felt good to move out on my own.
So, this event that happened, could you give a little more insight on what that was?
Yeah, so I was going to be awarded something huge for work, and Tom was supposed to attend the event. And the whole night I kept looking at his chair, seeing when he was going to be there, because he wasn't there when the event started, and he never showed up. And when I got home, he said he was tired. That's why he didn't attend. And that just made me feel really hurt and like I wasn't important.
So Susan, thanks so much for sharing that. I know it's not easy to, talk about those emotions, especially in front of the person that it involves. So, Tom, have you talked to Susan about this yet at all?
Well, considering she just moved out, no, it kind of blindsided me. There was no time to talk. She never told me how she felt. She just kind of kept everything inside and all of a sudden, gone.
So, it seems like to me that you're feeling a little bit angry and frustrated. Would you say that's true?
It's very true.
And is it because of that you were blindsided, or do you think that you could identify any issues that were going on before she moved out that were bothering you or frustrating you?
I mean, I know it was always a competition between who's going to work, who's going to take care of the family, but honestly, I felt really overworked.
I made so many sacrifices for you.
I was doing so much at work that I feel like I was not being appreciated for, and it just felt a lot to take on the kids and just stop the work I was doing when I was moving up in the company.
So, Tom, what it sounds like you're getting across is that you've always, done a lot for the family as the provider. So, Susan, what he just shared about what he has always felt like and done is for the family, what would you want to add to, or what would you like to say about that?
Well, I think it's sweet that he thinks all that, but the reality of it is, early on, he made me make a choice, basically, who was going to work and who was going to stay home with the kids, and I had to stay home with the kids, so I sacrificed having a career. And eventually, once our kids grew up, I was able to go back to school, and I was able to get a job, and that's why it was so important for me that he came to my event, because I was finally going to be doing something successful.
So it sounds like to me, you feel like you've always sacrificed for your relationship, and this event meant a lot to you as one of your first big recognitions.
What about the sacrifices I've made? I've missed football games, ballet rehearsal, plays, all because I had to be stuck over at work, and I didn't want you to do that.
You made that choice. You wanted me to stay home.
The kids needed you. I needed to provide for us.
All right, so before we get too caught up in our anger and frustration, because as two people in a relationship working at it for as long as you guys have, that's natural emotions that come with it, right? So,
I guess.
Tom, I want to know a little bit more if you could explain, what happened that you weren't able to come to the event, and maybe give some more insight.
Well, to be honest, I was supposed to be getting a promotion at work. However, when it was coming down to the decision, it wasn't me. I worked so hard, put so much time and effort into it, and then just to not get it to someone that I thought really didn't deserve it, I just kind of felt so depressed, I just couldn't even attend an event similar to it.
So, Susan, did you know that any of this was going on with Tom and work?
No, I have kind of been just checked out ever since I realized we've been drifting apart. I've just been uninterested really in the things he has to say about work, and I don't know, I just find myself not listening.
I'm all about you getting your own job and, working so hard because I'm all about that. But when I've done this for so long and we're so used to it and our life was so good the way it was, it just kind of threw me off to change
you,
it up.
maybe. I've been really unhappy.
So, Susan, thank you for sharing that. And Tom, thank you for listening and letting her say that. How does that make you feel right now, Tom, hearing that? You viewed your relationship as this happy, productive family, and that she's saying that, it hasn't felt that way to her all of this time.
I mean, I respect her wanting to go to work and I support that, but I guess I thought the kids would be too much to handle and she's so good at it. I liked it the way it was.
So, Susan, hearing about everything that happened at work and why he didn't attend the event, and his feelings about your guys' relationship in general, where does that really leave you in your decision to separate? Does it make a little more sense?
Yeah, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I just don't think that he is realizing all the sacrifices I made. I wasn't able to go back to school until our youngest child was 8 years old. So I had to do all that parenting and do all that housework for all those years. And I attended your clients and customers for your work events, and I never complained about it once. And you didn't really give me that much recognition for it when I was doing it, so it just felt like I was not being appreciated for any of the hard work I was doing. And then for me to go back to school, it took so long for me to get that career, and
I just thought with our youngest kid, after they grew up, you could get into work and we could both work, but I wanted them to be stable first, and that switch up.
I just would have loved your support with that.
And I would have loved to support you, but I just felt like I couldn't do a good a job as you did raising the kids.
So,
just your help even.
From what I'm hearing, it sounds like both of you guys have, some unmet needs. And one thing that's really important to understand is the only way for needs to get met is to communicate those needs really clearly. So I'm going to ask you guys each a question. So both of you, I want you to answer separately. So Susan, I want you to answer first. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel like your needs have been met in your marriage?
Maybe a 2 or 3 lately. Our sex life sucks, and like I said, I've just been really emotionally checked out. And I do want to mention though, like, he is right, he's very supportive and he has been the breadwinner for a long time, but now that I've been just going back to work, it's just put me in a whole new mindset.
So Tom, I want you to focus on that. Did you hear her? She just did acknowledge all the work that you've been doing. That's a really good thing, so that's a great job, Susan, to notice that. So Tom, now I want to ask you the same question on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you feel like your needs have been met in this relationship?
Honestly, I want to say like a 7.5. I thought everything was good. In my head, I didn't think anything was wrong. I felt like I wasn't really communicated to that, she wanted to advance in her career, and I feel like she didn't really let me know.
So then, I think, you both have been able to acknowledge, Susan, can you see that he had no insight on
Yeah,
your
I do.
feelings?
I realize I've been resentful. I never came forward and said, because I agreed to that decision back before either of us were working. I agreed that I would stay home with the kids, but I've just been so resentful all these years, and I don't know, I just really want to go back to work, and I just wish I would have had your support with that big event because it was so important to me.
I just want to work as a team. I don't want us to be one or the other. I want us to be a family structure. I want to raise our kids right.
Well, work is very important to me. And I don't want you to feel insecure because I might be doing better than you.
I'm just insecure that I wouldn't be doing a good job as you did with the kids at home.
So, I think that you guys have really done a good job today communicating both of your feelings towards each other. And I think, from this discussion, we've been able to identify that there might be a lack of communication going on between both of you that's put up a barrier to being able to be a successful couple, right? So going forward, I think that if you both are willing, if we work on that communication and find a healthy balance in your family structure where you're both able to get what you want, that there's no reason that a couple that, you know, has been in love for so long can't bring that back. So does that sound like something that you guys both are interested in going forward?
I would love that.